Hey, welcome. Urban Politics in the building. I'm here with a good friend of mine, Brad. He's in the building. We're going to talk about all types of stuff. There's a zillion things to get to, so let's get right into it like a car and drive. Brad, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I'm
That's
feeling
what's up. You
good.
see, I got my zipper open so I can talk to the people, man, but we still believe in social distancing and wearing the mask. Gotta wear, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely, we gotta be responsible.
That's what's up. And
Save our people.
I don't understand how he's got no zipper, but you can still hear what he's saying. Ain't that crazy? How's he pulling that off without a zipper? How's he doing it without a zipper, ladies and gentlemen? I don't know.
A lot of practice.
There it is. So he's got skills. All right. Check this out. Let's start with talking about the Supreme Court. The nomination of Amy Coney Barrett, I think. That's how people been talking about her, saying her name. How it affects our community. How do you think that affects our community?
The Supreme Court justice is the ultimate court in the land. So whatever judgment comes through there, we all have to abide by.
Yeah, true indeed. These people, they definitely they make the laws for all of America, you know.
Yes.
And I was telling people that I guess a lot of people were scared that she's coming after a few things that the Republican Party and Republicans or conservatives in general have been wanting to get rid of. You know, they've been wanting to revisit Roe versus Wade. They've been wanting to, get rid of a lot of the climate change stuff that initiatives that was, set up by Barack Obama. They want to do a lot of things with women's rights. But a good point that you had brought up earlier is they also want to get that majority on the Supreme Court because if and when this thing ends up, our election ends up falling in their laps and they have to make a decision, the conservative vote will be the stronger vote, and that way they can say, "Well, we think Trump won, and he can just get another 4 years in office." So you think that's really what all this is about?
Exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
I do. Yes, I do. Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, and that's sad. It's did you see the questioning that they were doing and how Kamala was even trying to nail her down on some things, but you couldn't nail this lady down on anything.
Right. She wouldn't
Yeah.
commit. She wouldn't take a strong stance on anything.
Yeah,
Which she's still trying to get those votes, so
yeah.
she's doing what she can to try to do that, but she doesn't have, it seems like, a very strong backbone when it comes to anything.
Yeah, well, they were talking about that because they said that's the way these nominations they always go like that. They'll ask these people questions and they always act like they don't have a position on anything.
Right.
They asked her about Roe versus Wade. This woman's written papers where she was against Roe versus Wade. Say that it was unconstitutional or whatever. But then when they asked her on the stand, she's gonna say she didn't have an opinion on it. And then I like the way Kamala Harris she had worded it perfectly because she had asked her. She was like, "Do you agree that smoking causes cancer?" And she was like, "Well, yeah." And then she asked her something else, and she was like, "Okay." She said, and she even said to her, "I see, Miss Harris, where you're trying to go with this. Asking me some of these questions, things that people know are common knowledge that you want to ask me about. Do I agree to climate change is common knowledge or whatever?" But she was like, "But even though you're leading me on these things, I really don't have a position." Da da da. So she dodged the question, and that's what people do anymore, especially when they're getting these nominations and stuff. They just stare and play stupid. They don't have an opinion on anything, but they're a lot like presidents. You're not going to find out what they're going to do until they get the position and they're in there to do it, so.
Especially if they're going to be a judge in the Supreme Court of the land.
Yeah.
You have to know what their position is on certain issues.
You would really like to, and it's a lifelong appointment.
Right.
And that woman, I think she's like 48, so she's going to be there a long time. We just lost, Justice Ginsburg, and how old was she? 89.
She was up there.
Yeah. So come on, I mean, she was on the court for a long, long, long time. So she'll be, writing laws and doing all that for years to come. So it would be nice for the American people to know what's in her head, but for whatever reason, that looks like that's probably not going to happen because she wasn't stupid enough to just, be forthcoming. I won't say stupid enough. There was a time when they'd have those hearings and people would keep it real about how they felt about different issues. But these days...
I also think, too, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but...
No.
I also think the reason she's taking that position is because she knows that the Republican Party is not going to win in November.
Okay.
And so she is trying to position herself into a more moderate positioning.
That makes sense. That makes sense. You always want to be middle of the road. Because that's where your biggest takeaways could be, that middle of the road. So I hear that. And that's a good point too. She doesn't know for a fact, that the Republican Party, they're all in for her, but she doesn't know for a fact that they'll be the ones, who are in power, right. Come after November 3rd. Hopefully not. So she's got to prepare for that too. You're right. So that was politically, that was smart politically. there was a young lady by the name of Laura Wolf. She was a blind student. She was a student of Miss Comey Barrett, Miss Amy Comey Barrett's, and she talked about how she was a good person. She had said when she got to school, her being blind, there's all types of aids and stuff that she needs. They weren't there for her to be able to do her work. She poured her heart out to Amy. Told her a problem. She said that Amy allowed her to be vulnerable because she's a person, with a disability. The girl's blind. So she said it was a lot for her to, even go to somebody and be vulnerable like that. But Amy, took her in and then let her know that, hey, this is no longer your problem. This is my problem. Mm-hmm. So I did appreciate that. Here's a real life story from a young woman who was blind, who was able to get some help from Miss Comey Barrett. I did see that she's adopted a lot of kids. These are all positives, you know what I mean? These are all positives, but at the same time, she is conservative, and I do think she's coming after LGBTQ rights. She's coming after Roe versus Wade. She's coming after climate control. She's coming after women's rights, and I do think that she would give them that majority that they need on the court to go ahead and give Trump the win if and when we get there. So that's the good and the bad of her. Everybody's got some positive. There's some positive things I heard about her, but at the same time, I don't like how she's poised to get rid of some of these things that have been so hard fought for, over the years. But that is what it is. We'll see what happens now. If you remember, I think his name is John Roberts.
Yes.
Remember what he did when it came to the American Care Act, Obamacare, how he was the deciding vote, and everybody thought that he was going to vote no, but he voted yes. But he did that, and then they said he was on the first thing smoking out of D.C. They said he cast that vote, and literally within an hour or two, he was gone. He got out of there because he seen the backlash coming. But here's the thing, that guy's conservative. So we didn't think he was going to do that, and the Republicans didn't think it. They were mad about that. But he went against the grain. He did something different. So you never know with this lady. What if she got in there and she didn't get all,
crazy
wanting to get rid of all this stuff? What if she surprised us? That's a huge what if, though. These are some things to lose on a what if.
And we shouldn't be voting on what ifs.
I hear that. With that said, let's go on and move on because I agree. That just said it perfectly. Please don't be voting on a what if. That's true indeed. Let's talk about voter suppression tactics. Have you voted already? Have you done some early voting?
Yes, I have.
Okay, when did you vote?
Last Thursday.
Okay, cool. I got to get with it. I'm supposed to go on Monday and vote early in the morning. I've heard a lot of things going on with the voting. It's a shame that the Republicans, they're always up to their tricks. A lot of these places, like in Georgia, they said people waiting 4 and 5 hours to vote. That's just ridiculous. No one should have to even wait to vote like that. It shouldn't be that hard to vote. I was talking to somebody today. How about this? You can order your mail-in ballot online, through the internet. We should get to a point in this country where you can vote online and through the internet.
If we can get our medical records online through the internet, if we can bank through the internet, if we can pay bills over the internet, I don't see why it's such a big deal about voting over the internet. But, we don't make the rules.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. And then, a conservative buddy of mine, he gonna say, well, we could do that, but there would need to be a fingerprint scan and a retina scan, and then and I was like, hold on, bro. Seriously, you want a finger? Yes, thank you. You see, as you sit there, I thought the same thing. That is laughable. Are you serious, bro? You really want people to get a finger scan and a fingerprint scan and a retina scan? So you want me to put my eye to something on my phone that's gonna read my retina just to cast a vote? That's ridiculous.
And a lot of phones already have the fingerprint
technology on them.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay, I don't like hearing that. But how about this? I don't want to use it to vote. I don't want to use it. Period. I don't want to use it to vote. It should not be that serious.
You don't have to do that in person. So why should you have to do that over the phone?
Yeah, I mean that's just ridiculous. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be that serious, man. But I guess. He swears that there's this big conspiracy on the left of people stealing votes, and then he'll send me stories of people who stole votes here, and they say these votes were miscounted here, and Trump is always talking about votes getting dumped in a river, or they got dumped in a ditch. Was it a river or a ditch? We don't know. These, I'm saying there's all these votes in California they can't find, and I'm not going to lie and say that some of that stuff doesn't happen, but they had said that the percentage of voter fraud was like 0.00000. Not like, it's almost non-existent.
It's
so I'm like,
statistically insignificant.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, I get sick of them going on and on about that. But a lot of this is just suppression because they know that, and Barack Obama said it best, when we vote, we win. When the more people vote, the more the liberals win, because Republicans have, policies that are just unpopular. They just are. You know, and the sooner they wake up to that, it is what it is. I mean, I was telling somebody earlier today, like 60+% of America, you know, is in agreement with Roe versus Wade. Think it should be a woman's right to choose what to do with her body. You know, 60% of Americans think that a woman should make the same amount for the same work that a man makes. 60, you know, so.
Can I touch on that really quick?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Because, you know, there's been a lot of arguments about wearing these masks and having the right not to wear a mask because it's your body. You should be able to determine your own safety.
Wow. Okay.
So when it comes to masks, we should have individual rights.
Yeah.
But when it comes to women's bodies, they want to take that away from women, which I think is kind of hypocritical.
Yeah, that is extremely hypocritical. That is, yeah, I'm not even going to. It's ridiculous. That's what it is. That's crazy. So I I really don't understand how they draw on that. But then I saw something else crazier than that even. I read a thing how there was a minister who was saying that wearing a mask was dishonorable to God. Covering your face was dishonorable to God. Therefore, for religious reasons, I shouldn't have to wear a mask. Come on, man. Somebody smacked the taste out of that guy's mouth. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Are you serious? So would God sit on high somewhere and be like, yeah, I know there's a pandemic and a virus going around. Please.
Right. Exactly.
I need to see your face. So don't worry about that pandemic.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And why would God need to see your face anyway? He made you. He's seen your face. He gave you your face.
You're made in the image of God.
Thank you. There you go. So when he sees his face, is he not seeing your face? Lord have mercy. Okay. But that's just ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, but you hear all types of rationale for why people don't want to wear a mask. Just wear a mask. But that's a good piece of America, isn't it? In America, people do not like to be told what to do. You know, and there's a certain sect of people in this population who are like, even if they learn and understand that something they do could save and help other people, if it inconveniences them for a second, they're not going to do it. They don't want to do it. It could save your life, but if it inconveniences me for 2 minutes, I'm not interested. And that's extremely selfish. You know, that's very selfish. That's just extremely selfish. But that is America. That doesn't surprise me. Moving on, let's talk about Facebook and Instagram and how they're finally getting rid of QAnon accounts. Have you heard of QAnon?
Yes, I have.
What do you know about QAnon?
A bunch of weirdos that have weird conspiracy theories about child abduction, child molestation, consuming human body parts. All all directed really towards the Democratic Party.
Yeah. They had some guy at a pizzeria, I forget, New York or something like that, I think, and he went in there with a gun and was going to shoot people because he was convinced that Hillary Clinton was trafficking kids out of this place and all this, and it's just craziness, man. I mean, I have went down the rabbit hole of some of this QAnon stuff. It gets really, really deep. Something about what was it about? Was it something about Ted Cruz's father assassinated JFK or something like that? Yeah, and then what else? They were saying stuff about how when Trump, the way that he moves his hands and stuff, he's giving them codes or something like that. And I was like, are you serious? Like, that is the stupidest, weirdest thing I've ever heard. And then, like I told you earlier, we were talking about this earlier, and I saw a meme. And it was a meme of Trump holding some babies, and he's like running away from a fiery demon or whatever. And then there's like some comments at the bottom where the lady was like, "This is literally what's going on now. I can't see how you couldn't vote for this man." And I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? Claiming that Trump is somewhere running away with babies and keeping them away from the fiery demons that's, I guess, supposed to be the Democratic Party, or these rich elites who they're saying are having these sex parties and doing weird satanic rituals. That's just, I mean, really crazy. It's crazy. And it's crazy to think that people are so quick to believe this stuff. And then I did see a thing where they were talking to some Trump supporters, and the one lady said, I don't believe all of it. She said, but I believe some of it, but I do believe that it all can't be a lie or whatever. And then she was saying that, if it's against pedophilia, that's something I definitely support. Well, that's something I think everybody supports. And I think with a lot of these conspiracy theories, they always make sure to base it around something like that. I mean, that's a given. I don't think you're going to meet too many people who agree with pedophiliism, or doing anything to a child. So if you make that something that your, mission or whatever is against, well, all right, already there you've got a whole lot of people who's going to be in unison with you. You know what I'm saying? So it's not hard to get people to sign on to that. That isn't a tough sale.
Right. Let alone a whole political party, which is the part that... Yeah. I mean... we're all individuals at the end of the day. Yeah. I'm sure that there are some crazy weirdos in every party. Yeah. But, to attribute all these gross acts to one political party, I think is a little extreme.
Yeah, and it is. Yeah, that's just. I mean, that's sad. It's kind of like them wanting to say that it's not just like me. Not liking their democratic or liberal policies. There's also this, and I have heard a lot of conservatives, a lot of Republicans, call the Republican or the Democratic Party the party of infanticide. Hold up. That blows me away because then they act like we're liberals are waking up one day and saying, yeah, let's go out and kill some babies or, have some ladies kill. That's just ridiculous. They come about the part. That's what my conservative buddy going to say to me. I don't think the party of infanticide can, pass judgment on him. I'm like, infanticide? Hold up now. Get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Do liberals support a woman's right to a safe and legal abortion? Yes. But they're not out here telling women to go kill babies or nothing like that.
And they're not putting babies in cages at the border and
thank you.
Trying to neuter women at the border. But that's a whole
and that's the point of it though. Yeah. You just said that. You talk all that stuff about babies, but there you are putting babies in cages and other stuff like that. So don't talk to me about the party of infanticide. But they blow me away with that madness. Psst. Moving on, let's talk about our dude Ice Cube. It was a good day. It's not been a good day for Cube lately.
Yeah, it's been a tough day.
Yeah. I read something about Cube too, and they said that he got a lot of backlash from. And really, okay, number one, it was that tweet. Whoever the sister was, I didn't even get her name. Forget her name because he said he's never met her and he don't know her. But she gonna put out that tweet saying that Cube has okayed us to talk about his involvement with the Trump campaign and yada yada blah 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 blah. That was garbage, and that was them using him, and that was a pathetic last ditch effort at some black votes, just because maybe they can say that Cube is supporting the Trump campaign. What do you think of that? Do you think I'm right about that? Do you think they're just using his?
I agree 1,000%, and I think they're overestimating his influence on the black vote as well.
Amen to that, brother. You just said it. I agree. And then how about this? Cardi B could influence more black people to vote than Ice Cube right now.
She's more relevant to this younger generation probably than Ice Cube. You'd have to be around back then to really, even know who Ice Cube is.
Exactly. You just took the words right out of my mouth. And so I don't even... Yeah, yeah, they were a day late and a dollar short with that. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, Cube to us is a big deal.
Definitely.
We grew up with Ice Cube. Get out of here. NWA is still one of my favorite groups. Get out of here. You know what I'm saying? We know Young Cube. Yeah. We've grown up with the moves. I respect that man all day. With that said, like you just said, his relevant because he's old like us now. So I mean that is what it is. You know what I mean? He's not the baby. He's not Lil Baby. He's not Cardi B. He's not any of these kids. You know what I mean? So they would have a little more influence because they'd be a little more relevant. And that just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So that was a pathetic. But that's it. These conservatives, they always do that. They know nothing about pop culture, yet they're always trying to use it to gain some type of edge or get in there. So they had that. I guess Trump has got, he's got the platinum plan for Black America. Now, Cube has got he's got the contract with Black America. So I guess he claimed that they saw his contract with Black America, said that they liked some of that, and then they wanted to, talking about using some of that for their platinum plan for Black America. It looks like garbage to me anyway, because like he said, they're talking about $500 billion for infrastructure, but that's that garbage because that usually ends up going to white companies or companies that are not owned by people of color to build up the black neighborhoods, and then they build these stuff that we can't even get a job at or whatever. So
and it doesn't address our needs specifically.
Exactly.
It addresses the needs of all Americans, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think what the contract with Black America, I think that the title in itself tells what it should be about.
Exactly. Yeah, true indeed. So yeah, I agree with that too. And I see what Cube was trying to get at with that. I see that he was trying to be like, no, we need something that specifically goes to us. I hear that. He shouldn't have let them use his name like that, which I mean, he did come back out and try and said everything that I just said. He said, I've never met with Trump, never met that lady, never been to the White House. None of that has happened. They reached out to me, said that they liked some stuff that was in my plan. I told him, okay, fine, I'll meet with we could talk. He said, I'll talk with anybody right now. And I hear, and you said it best. What'd you say? That he just threw a grenade in the room and walked out.
That's what it feels like. But we're all talking about it, so
And that's what I think Cube he even said that in an interview I seen on CNN. He said, I want to at least get the conversation started. I want to at least get people to talking. And you're right, that's what he did. He threw that grenade in the room, walked out. But at least it's something to talk about because now the room's blown up. So now we got to talk about it.
And now it's September.
Yeah. So you saying he could have did? Is this a little too late? Is that what you're saying? He should have did this way earlier.
Yes, I think that he would have been better off if he brought it up when the candidates were going up against each other in the primary.
Yeah.
But to bring it up now, right before an election, I think is a little bit short-sighted.
Yeah, it's like a lame October surprise, huh? You know, Definitely. It's like, why would you even go there? Like you said, it's like Comey bringing up Hillary Clinton's emails. Yes. You know, that other October surprise that gave us the idiot we got in office now. So I hear that too. It's like, come on, Cube. You know, they laid dollar short, bro. You probably should have did this months ago. But it is what it is. And I was just happy to hear that he didn't go run into the Trump campaign. He said, I didn't do that. They reached out to me and they asked about my plan. So he said he didn't go run into them. I was glad to hear that because I was about to lose a whole lot of faith and love for Ice Cube to find out that he ran to, have a meeting with Trump of all people, So like, I didn't see you doing nothing like that. So it's good to hear that it didn't necessarily go down like that, but it is sad. But it isn't anything that we haven't come to expect from this administration. They couldn't get a photo op with him, so they was going to at least use his name in a tweet, trying to get some kind of black votes. Because Trump needs he needs some black votes because he's not going to get many. He's not going to get as many as he did last time. He'll get some, but he's not going to get, like you were even saying that too, like you don't think there's that many black people for Trump. They always try to pump that image up.
Yeah.
They do, but I think it's just an image. Like I said, there ain't that, there's not that many stupid black folk out there. Anyway. Trump. I mean, you talking about politics, you talking about Trump. Mad about the 1619 project. Of course it would. He would be. Calls it toxic education. Says it's toxic education. What do you think about that? Is it toxic to talk about slavery in schools?
I think we've whitewashed slavery so much to make it palatable for children, not necessarily for black children, but for children of other races.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing that, we've misrepresented what slavery actually was.
Yeah.
And the effects that it could still have today because, if you see it as slavery as, well, they were fed, they were housed, they were given clothing, if that's the image you think of slavery, well then, of course you're wondering why African Americans today are talking about the repercussions of slavery of their ancestors.
Yeah.
But if you really knew how harsh it really was and what it really entailed, I think that you better understand African Americans' position today.
Yeah, true indeed, and that's what it is. It really it belittles the memory of our ancestors who went through the Middle Passage to not talk about it the way it happened. But whenever you hear about it, they always kind of glamorize it. Right. They make it seem like, oh, they were all stuck to this boat. We'll understand this. Some of them died on that boat. Women menstruated on people who were under them in that boat because they were crammed in that boat. There are people in that boat, they had to go to the bathroom. They did it on the people who were under them in that boat. That's why, what did they say in that Middle Passage? For a while there wasn't sharks in that piece of the ocean, but they got there because they were throwing slaves' bodies off. And when that blood and them bodies would be in the water, that's when the sharks came to the water to eat. So there's a lot of us who didn't make it over here. That was a gut-wrenching, horrible experience. But to not talk about it the way that it happened is to really just belittle the memory of the people who went through it, who lived it. Yeah. So, and you're right, we do that a lot because these are hard conversations. And guess what? These conversations are harder for nobody. They're not harder for anybody but us. You know what I mean? For black people, these are not easy conversations to have either. Right. We don't enjoy talking about slavery, but it's something that needs to be talked about. And to not talk about it is to continue to relive it, continue to go through things from it, or continue to not understand that some of the things, even the way that we deal with each other sometimes, comes from it. We got to talk about it, so it's a shame that, and of course the president wouldn't want to, talk about it because the 1619 project, I've talked about it on the show, is basically saying the story of America started in 1619, not 1776 when them guys threw all that tea in the water, mad about England and formed their independence from England, but it started in 1619 when them 20 Africans came to this country, and I'm like, that is, because that's when the money started. So that's the beginning of any story, the money, and the money started when we started making the money on this land. So he doesn't want anything at all that would make some black person somewhere feel proud about themselves or feel happy about, something. Or, so I'm like, I'm not surprised. He talking about he wants more patriotic learning in our schools. Patriotic learning? Yeah, I think that's more white supremacy learning. That's more the learning that we got going on right now. So I was like, really? And he was saying that he was going to get this $5 million from TikTok because he had to get an American company that had to take over TikTok, or he was going to kick it out and make sure that people couldn't get it anymore. And so he wants that money to go towards this patriotic teaching. And it's just a bunch of garbage. It's pathetic. And I think the sister who did this 1619 project, she got the Nobel Peace Prize. I think they're talking about taking that away from her.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I forget the one brother. He's got the what is it? Unite 1776, I think. And that's the story. I talked about that on the show too. And he was just saying that he wanted to shine a light on black people who were able to work within the system of America and still be successful. That's good too. I think that needs to happen, and the 1619 Project, that all comes together because there are some of us who were able to come to this country and find our way through the madness or whatever, and despite our colors still be successful. That happened, but slavery happened, and all the stuff, the repercussions of that have happened too. So all of that is of a part of the same story. So I don't understand why both can't be told, and they shouldn't have to be at odds with each other, but it seems kind of like they are. It is what it is. I'm not surprised that the president, though, was turned off from people, thinking anything positive about black people.
Right. Well, imagine if we talked about 9/11 and we tried to present that in a positive light.
Yeah.
You would probably say to yourself, what was positive about 9/11?
Exactly.
Same thing goes for slavery, except it was more than just one day.
Exactly. And it was way more than 3,000 people.
Exactly.
Good point. That's a perfect, that just said it right there perfectly, and that's what it is. But it's all, I guess, at how you look at something, and then a lot of times people telling the history, they always want to paint themselves in a good light, especially when they were probably they were the aggressor in that history. They want to make it look like they weren't so much or wasn't that bad. But they need to get over that. Trump need to get over that. Moving on, let's talk about how a terrorist organization tried to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer. She's the governor in Michigan. Can you believe that? These guys going to kidnap the governor. They had a plot to do it anyway. Mad at her over the mask mandate. What is up with people in these masks? Why do people feel just so entitled or privileged that they won't have the government coming down on them and telling them what they got to put on their face, even though it's saving their life and the lives of others?
And not to mention, she was a duly elected official.
How about that?
So their opinion matters over all the people that voted her into office.
Exactly. That's a good point. And these are the same people who would say that if you talked about Trump. They'd be like, well, he was elected by the people. The people have spoken. The people have spoken. He's the people's president. Really? So she was the people's governor, but y'all so mad. And they had said that too. They said that one of the issues of contention they had is that she was a woman telling them what to do. But a lot of these guys, they're like that. These alpha males, some of these military guys, some of these these lead follower, get out the way, douchebags, I don't know what else to call them. So you've met these guys and they're on that. Yeah. They ain't no woman gonna tell them what to do. And if I want to go to the gym, and that was one of the things that they were most upset about, that they couldn't go to the gym. Seriously. So 13 guys got together, calling themselves, I think, the Wolverine Unit or something corny like that, talking about they're gonna go get this woman, put her on trial because they couldn't go to the gym. Because going to the gym might kill you right now because there's a pandemic going on. Welcome to America. Where else does this go on? That's why a lot of other countries have gotten rid of this thing or flattened their curve, and we can't do it here. Because the selfishness, it runs rampant in this country. It really does.
It really does.
It's redonkulous, isn't it?
Yes,
I mean, that's sad. These are grown men, who got the nerve to do that. And then they were recorded as making a joke. They were saying, no, we're not talking about kidnapping. Well, it's like kidnapping when it's an adult. We're adult napping. Like making a joke about this. So it's like, okay, well, now they can make their jokes in jail. And let's hope that they go under the jail. Now, we know that these terrorist organizations, and that's what they are. They're not militia groups. They're not calling them militia groups. They're calling it a terrorist organization.
Because that's what it really is.
It's what it is. It's what it is. You know what I'm saying? So, hopefully these guys do get the time that they deserve to get, but we all know how that goes. They probably got decent lawyers, and there's probably some lawyers who done picked this up pro bono because these guys are in bed with the right, and they get a lot of love from the right. So that means they probably get a lot of legal help, and they may not end up doing too much time over this, but they need to, man, to set a message to let people know that ain't smooth. This was an elected official. Have some respect. You don't agree with what she's put out there, but guess what? She was elected. She is your governor.
Vote her out of office when election time comes up.
And there it is. You know what I'm saying? Go through the proper channels if you want to get rid of her. I have to say, go through the proper channel. Isn't that what they always say?
Yeah.
So there it is. Hey, there it is. We're going to put a little bow on that. Boom. Urban politics. It was another lovely episode. Brad, anything else you want to add?
No, just have a safe a safe rest of the year.
Yeah.
Take care of your families.
Yeah. And, they were talking about getting rid of Thanksgiving. What you think of that?
I think we should get rid of Thanksgiving anyway for other reasons.
Well, yeah. You mean Indigenous Slaughtered Peoples Day?
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, they changed Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day, so that's a step,
Yeah, I don't know if I was a so-called indigenous people, I would take that term.
Indigenous people,
exactly. I mean, if this is their land, every day should be their day.
I hear that. That's a good point. That's all said baby steps. We gotta take these baby steps, to bring it all together. Hey, we'll do it again. Urban Politics. Please subscribe if you like the show. Subscribe. Go to YouTube and click the button. It is what it is. See you around like a donut. We're out.